Everyone loves the deafening sound of the mighty GAU-8 Avenger cannon firing heavily on the dangerous front lines. But brute force means absolutely nothing if your combat aircraft cannot actually survive the initial tactical approach. Deploying the old A-10 Warthog to the Middle East right now is not just a standard and routine show of American force. It is a remarkably high-stakes and asymmetric tactical gamble against those highly dangerous FIAC swarms operating out there. Let us carefully break down the real and unforgiving battlefield environment that the military officials are hiding from you. 5 long weeks into the massive Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. Air Force just boldly deployed 18 more A-10 Warthogs. That unusual movement brings the total number of these aging planes to roughly 30 across this highly volatile region. This places nearly a third of the remaining active fleet directly concentrated in one single and intensely hostile theater. We are talking about an aircraft that is officially scheduled for permanent retirement in the upcoming strategic plans. This is the exact same aircraft the Air Force has spent over a decade aggressively trying to phase out of the active inventory. And right now, more of these heavily armored machines are actively heading directly into the war zone instead of quietly leaving. The fundamental reason for this strange paradox lies deep within the heavily congested waters of the vast Strait of Hormuz. Over 150 Iranian naval vessels have been systematically destroyed or permanently disabled since late February. There, military commanders discovered a deadly problem that billions in 5th-generation sensor technology simply cannot ever solve. The ultimate challenge is rapidly telling a harmless fishing boat from a lethal attack boat among thousands of civilian vessels. The advanced F-35 fighter has a complex sensor suite worth more than the entire airplane it is actively trying to replace. Yet it still cannot distinguish an IRGC fast attack craft from a traditional civilian dhow flying past at 500 knots today. The highly experienced A-10 pilot clearly can, because at 300 knots through a clear bubble canopy, the human brain has time. It gives them crucial time to process and see exactly what no advanced algorithm has ever been taught to safely distinguish. There is a strict physics equation behind this massive problem that the top military leadership has simply failed to solve. Picture the crowded Strait of Hormuz from 3,000 feet above, looking down at thousands of moving civilian vessels. Somewhere among those innocent fishing trawlers and fuel barges, lethal, fast attack craft are hiding with their engines off. Painted the exact same sun, bleached blue as every fishing boat around them, they become identical thermal blobs on the screen. The highly advanced sensor sees multiple contacts, but it unfortunately does not see the vital operational context at all. When an aircraft flies over a target, that specific target sweeps across the visual field at a rate called angular velocity. The faster you fly across the sky, the faster those tiny targets violently move and blur across your struggling retina today. An F-35 fighter crossing the chaotic strait at high speeds generates an incredibly high angular rate for the stressed pilot. Targets transit the visual field in a narrow window, completely too brief for the human eye to process any contextual detail. At that extreme speed, the pilot cannot rely on what is outside the canopy and must look down at the digital targeting systems. But among thousands of contacts that all look approximately the same on infrared, which one has hidden rocket rails under canvas? An A-10 flying at a significantly lower speed operates at a much lower angular rate, giving the brain time to run a vital process. The pilot scans the line of vessels, carefully contextualizes the scene, effectively classifies the immediate threat, and decides that crucial 4-step cognitive process requires extended dwell time. And dwell time is exactly what extreme speed takes away. The current tactical reality in the Strait of Hormuz has transformed into a remarkably dense A2AD environment today. The Iranian military has completely saturated the entire coastline with a highly advanced and overlapping radar network. We are no longer operating in the relatively permissive and safe airspace that American pilots enjoyed over Afghanistan. Deadly and mobile surface-to-air missile systems like the Khordad-15 are actively tracking every single flight profile. These formidable defensive batteries are specifically designed to quickly vaporize any aircraft flying at low altitudes. Flying a completely unstealthy aircraft directly into this heavily contested kill zone is a mathematically lethal choice. Hundreds of modern shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles are also constantly pointing up from those hidden patrol boats. The harsh geographical reality of this narrow choke point forces military pilots to operate dangerously close to the shore. Enemy radar operators are constantly illuminating the American planes with targeting sensors while waiting for a command. Surviving this incredibly hostile and saturated defensive web requires significantly more than just a powerful cannon. The brutal truth is that this heavily fortified airspace leaves absolutely zero margin for error for conventional jets. A heavily armored titanium bathtub around the cockpit provides absolutely no protection against an advanced guided missile. This fundamental shift in adversarial capability effectively neutralizes the historical advantages of the A-10 platform. The Pentagon is intentionally sending these aging planes into a meat grinder that was specifically built to destroy them. We must honestly evaluate if brute force tactics can actually overcome modern shore-based defense systems in combat today. The undeniable reality of this brutal operational theater turns this legendary jet into a tragic, low and slow liability. Military strategists must seriously question the actual airframe survivability against a modern anti-aircraft network. A massive titanium bathtub was brilliantly designed to deflect heavy machine gun fire during the Cold War-era conflicts. However, that thick metal armor offers absolutely zero meaningful protection against a supersonic radar-guided interceptor. We are looking at a highly dangerous and frankly suicidal mission profile for any pilot operating over the raging waters. Enemy commanders are actively utilizing highly sophisticated tracking systems that easily paint these large, sluggish targets. The sheer size and slow cruising speed of the Warthog make it a remarkably easy mark for those advanced coastal batteries. A single direct hit from a modern surface-to-air missile would instantly obliterate this beloved and historical warplane. Losing a highly trained American pilot along with the aircraft in these contested waters would be an absolute catastrophe. The extreme political and strategic fallout from such a devastating shootdown would immediately paralyze the entire operation. Brute force and heavy payloads are completely irrelevant if the delivery platform is instantly vaporized during the approach. The Pentagon is playing an incredibly risky game of tactical roulette with the lives of these dedicated military aviators. Relying on severely outdated defensive countermeasures against 21st century electronic warfare is a foolish strategy. The harsh truth is that this nostalgic symbol of close air support has become a giant flying bullseye in this modern war. This fundamental vulnerability forces us to heavily question the actual logic behind deploying them to this lethal environment. When facing those highly lethal swarms of fast attack craft, the military actually has much safer and cheaper alternatives. Consider the highly capable MH-60R Seahawk helicopter operating safely from the deck of a heavily defended naval destroyer. This advanced maritime platform carries deadly Hellfire missiles and utilizes an incredibly precise surface search radar. The Seahawk can systematically eliminate those hostile boats from a relatively safe distance without risking a massive jet. Remove the human pilot entirely, and you instantly get the MQ-9 Reaper drone loitering quietly high above the raging sea. The remote operator sits in a ground control station thousands of miles away while viewing the world through a delayed feed. That devastating second of satellite transmission delay completely ruins the ability to make rapid life or death decisions. The Reaper operator basically looks through a tiny digital straw, while the human fighter pilot looks through a windshield. These autonomous systems also lack heavy armor, meaning a single bullet could easily destroy a $30 million drone. The military commanders must carefully weigh these critical risk factors before committing to any single aviation platform, instead of just hunting small boats. The true strategic purpose of this deployment is the bait and shield doctrine. The very loud presence of these specific warplanes provides an incredible psychological deterrent against the enemy. However, flying these vulnerable jets directly out to the front line serves as an incredibly ruthless tactical bait. If hostile military commanders activate their advanced defensive radars to lock onto these slow targets, they expose their units. That fatal mistake instantly reveals their exact hidden positions to the stealthy F-35 fighters loitering quietly far above them. This brilliant and deadly high-low coordination is the actual strategic master plan dominating the dangerous Hormuz battle space now. The 5th-generation jets cannot easily find those hidden surface threats without someone else intentionally triggering the alarms. The aging titanium aircraft acts as an irresistible lure to draw out the sophisticated missiles that threaten the entire naval fleet. It is a cold and calculated geopolitical sacrifice designed solely to clear the operational path for the modern stealth combat force. American generals are deliberately waving a giant red flag in front of the adversary to map the entire defensive network from above. The real reason this aging platform is still highly valued lies in its incredible loiter time over the chaotic maritime combat zone. The necessity to remain constantly on station for many continuous hours is the decisive factor in protecting crucial shipping lanes. Stealth fighters like the F-35 do not have the fuel capacity to loiter endlessly above the contested waters, waiting for a sudden fight. Keeping a human eye directly over the target area provides an unmatched tactical advantage that algorithms cannot easily replicate today. The tactical advantage of prolonged visual observation remains an absolute necessity when dealing with highly unpredictable naval threats. With massive fuel tanks, the armored jet can orbit the critical choke point for hours while waiting for enemy ships to finally make a move. This overwhelming physical presence serves as an incredibly powerful warning against any sudden attempts to disrupt international waters. The Pentagon has confidently submitted an official transition plan to replace these aircraft with a massive network of digital sensors. Military planners believe that advanced drones and artificial intelligence will flawlessly handle the complex maritime security mission. The massive problem with this elegant technological vision is that modern artificial intelligence still fails miserably in heavy clutter. Current algorithms easily break down when targets are partially hidden or cleverly painted to look exactly like civilian fishing vessels. The smart machines simply run basic pattern matching programs instead of critically evaluating the chaotic environment like a human pilot. There is a massive and dangerous operational gap between the retirement of older aircraft and the arrival of reliable automated systems. The Air Force is actively surging the exact same planes it is rapidly trying to dismantle right into the middle of a major combat zone. This glaring logistical contradiction proves that the highly praised digital system of systems simply does not exist in reality right now. Generals are blindly trusting unproven software while actively destroying the only proven mechanical platform that actually works today. The top military leadership clearly wants to pivot entirely to 5th-generation stealth fighters while completely abandoning the Warthog. We must carefully look at the entire tactical board to determine what should actually happen to these legendary close air support monsters. Should the Pentagon finally transfer these specific aircraft directly to the Army or Marines for dedicated ground support missions today? Or is it finally time to permanently send the aging fleet to the desert boneyard despite their undeniable value in the crowded strait? Drop your exact tactical reasoning in the comments section below because we want to hear your professional opinion on this intense debate. I will be waiting to discuss these highly critical strategic moves with all of you on the very next episode of our tactical video series.